Hey guys, this is episode 3 of NizCast. I'm Kyle Smith. In this episode, we're going to be talking about items, which items to get, why you get certain items, and ways to counter certain heroes with items. What I'm not going to be talking about is what items do. If you don't know that, go on the Heroes of Newerth website. There's an items tab, which you can see all the items, what they can do. You can read up on that. If you don't know what the heroes do as well, there's a tab for heroes as well. So jumping right into it, we're first going to talk about starting item builds. What you're looking for in your starting items on the left here, just messing around in paint here, these are the things that you're looking to get: regeneration, stats, protection, maybe your support, and you're going to get some support items off the start. These are the main ones that you're looking at the start. So obviously regeneration can allow you to stay in the lane, you're not going to get harassed out, you're not going to be taking those trips back to the fountain. Stats, obviously, maybe it's giving you some strength, giving you some more health. Maybe it's, your agility, it's giving you more damage or something like that. Protection, that might come in the form of more health through stats, right? Protection, maybe it's also more armor or something like that. And support, pretty straightforward. Maybe you have to buy the courier or something like that. Anyways, jumping right into it. Basic ranged. So let's say you are an int ranged here, right? You got some regen with your Runes of the Blight and a health potion, 2 minor totems, and 2 duck boats. Gives you a lot of stats and a good amount of regen. Say if you're int, well, replace those duck boots with 2 Mark and the Novice. Pretty straightforward. Going for the Blood Chalice build, maybe you're getting, some regen, some minor totems, and then the Mark of the Novice Crushing Claw. And then at the side shop, you can get a Scarab that combines, gives you your Chalice. Really convenient way of doing that. Ring of the Teacher, same idea. Regen, some stats, and a Guardian Ring. You actually have a little bit of gold left over with this, so you can actually swap out a minor totem and get 2 mana pots if you need it. Support, same thing. Regen, stats. Now, if let's say you're Legion bottom, or at the bottom lane, and you're buying the courier, right? That build works that way. Now, if you're top, maybe you're buying the wards, and you can just swap that out either way. Melee, same idea. Regen, stat, you're getting a shield, a buckler, to protect you against kind of harassment that's going to be dealt to you when you go in for last hits. Maybe you need a mana pot instead, so you swap out a minor totem. If you're rushing for bottle, get a little bit of regen, some stats to help you last hit, but you're saving a little bit of gold to try and get that 600 gold item as fast as possible, right? And that's going to cover for that lack of regen, right? So you can see how we're going, as I'm scrolling down here, you can see how we're going for these kind of things with all these things. You don't see any builds, she'll scroll back up, you don't see any builds that just have boots, you don't see any builds that just have bottle, right? Because those don't give you enough variety of these things that we're looking for, right? Alright, so how do we transition out of this? Well, our typical items that are going to give us regen are right here, right? These 3. Well, when we're transitioning out of that, maybe you're mid, you're getting a bottle, maybe, you're getting a mana battery and power supply. Notice all these builds up here, most of them have 2 minor totems, which transitions really well into just buying that recipe and upgrading them. Maybe you have the Guardian Ring already, you're getting a Scarab, completing the Ring of the Teacher. It gives you a mana regen aura and also gives you an armor aura, right? Maybe you're getting the Chalice instead, and maybe you've already gotten the power supply, right? These are just ways of getting you more and more regen. And as the game goes on, that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to add on the regen, because we're going to need more and more as the game goes on, right? Maybe you're getting a life tube. Maybe you're getting a mana tube, right? There's going to become a point where you're not going to need any more regen. And that's fine. Don't get more regen if you don't need it, right? Maybe you're going to get more stats, right? Maybe you're going to get more stats. So, well, these are the starting stat items that we're going to get, right? Those are the kind of ones that we're looking at. Maybe we're working towards Steam Boots or an Ice Brand, Fireburn kind of deal, right? Then you might get these eventually. Or maybe you're going to get these as well, depending on what build you're going for, right? So you see, as the game progresses, you want to get more and more stats. You're going to try to progress your items. You're working your way there. Maybe your support and you're dying a lot because they've got a lot of burst damage and you just need health. Maybe you're going to pile on a couple bracers, kind of idea, right? Protection, Same thing. You're starting off with, a shield. Maybe you got that life tube and you're working towards the Helm of the Black Legion, right? And you get a beast heart. It's not really stats, but it's giving you more health. Alright, support. Starting off by buying wards, maybe you're buying the courier instead. As the game progresses, you're upgrading that courier to flying. Maybe you're getting wards of revelation to help counter ward, teleports to help teleport around, to help teammates that are getting ganked or, defend towers. Or maybe you need wards of, Dust of Revelation to help protect you against invis heroes and stop them from running away. There becomes a point where you're actually going to need to get some boots. Generally pretty early in the game, but you're going to get some boots, because if you're the slowest guy, then you're kind of a sitting duck. Then you need to look at which boots you're going to upgrade to, right? Striders, Ghost Marchers, Steam Boots. Striders, obviously just a recipe cost. You don't have to have too much planning in items before, but Steam Boots you do, You have to look at getting one of these 450 gold items, right? Combined with, Gloves of Swift is going to get you that Steam Boot. If you're going for face boots, you're going to get that boot, and then you're going to have to pile on 2 punch daggers. But let's say you're struggling in the laning phase with last hitting, you don't really need the mobility. Maybe you're going to get these 2 punch daggers first, then get the boots to make your Ghost Marchers. Right? You can see how you can modify the way that you build items to help you in each game. You're not sitting to a strict set form that, a guide may provide or something like that. Right? So let's look at some heroes here. So we've got, switch to white, Swiftblade. Let's look at core item on Swiftblade. Core item on Swiftblade is definitely Rune Cleaver. It used to be called a Rune Axe. Why is that? Well, early game he needs some health regen. So life tube, it's a good transition into getting that. He's going to need mobility, increased move speed, because he's using a spin and he's being aggressive. Because he's using that, he's going to need mana regen. So now you've got these two, which combine to get us a sustainer. Right? But he's also an agi carry, so he's going to need more damage. So if you get 2 of these things, which I don't remember the name of at the moment, then you have your Rune Cleaver, which gives you the regen you need, it gives you damage you need, and it gives you cleave, allowing you to farm even better. Moving on, skip some of these. Let's go to Forsaken Archer. Forsaken Archer, great pickup for her, Frostburn. Right? Why is that? Well, it's made up of Firebrand and an Ice Brand. Both are cheap, fairly easy to get. It's just 450, 450, and then 450, 1,000, and then 750 for the recipe, and you got it. And same for Firebrand, 450, 1,000, 750. Combined, you got your thing right there. Later on in the game, you can actually split that back into these two after you've gotten, a Blessed Orb and enough gold for the recipe for Geometer's Bane, and there you have a Geometer's Bane. Same thing with the Ice Brand. Get another Blessed Orb, get a Glowstone, 700 for a recipe, and you have Frostwolf Skull. You can see how, you can transition as you go through the game by just having one of these game plans. You can actually do the same thing with Codex and Face Boots by splitting Face Boots. Moving on to other heroes. Thunderbringer, obviously Spell Shards. He's a nuker. Spell Shards make you hit harder. He also likes to cast as much as possible. Spell Shards makes you cast more. Pretty straightforward. Succubus works really well with good positioning, so Blink would be a great idea, or Portal Key. Also, Puzzle Box is a great idea. Your ultimate holds people in place. If you have a bunch of minions that can attack at that time, it's just going to make your ult that much more potent, right? Let's look at some of the ones in red here now. Nighthound. Well, Nighthound has a cloud that stops you from being able to attack in it. Well, not really attack, it makes you miss. So how do we counter Nighthound now? Well, Savage Mace. Savage Mace makes it so you can't miss. Great counter to it. Right? Skipping some more of these. Vindicator. A lot of people hate playing a Vindicator, myself included. A lot of people don't know, though, that Nullstone will actually block his ultimate. So if you get Nullstone, you have a chance of blocking his ultimate if it's off cooldown. Pretty good way of countering him. But he also has his aura, which silences you every single time you cast. Real big pain. Hellflower disables a passive when it's used on them, as well as silencing, their ability use as well. So it's a great way of countering him. What else do we have? Dr. Repulsor jumps around a lot with his ult, hard to lock down. Hellflower silences him, so he can't do that. Sheepstick, Coldra Sheepstick, holds them in place so you can get your other disables on him. Obviously, great way of doing that. Keeper of the Forest, his ultimate roots you in place. You can Shrunken Head out of it, but if you already have Shrunken Head active when he ults, then you're stuck in his ult. So you have to Shrunken Head after you're stuck in his ult. Another way, Geometer's Bane. Once you're stuck in his ult, you just pop Geometers, you're out, you're able to move freely. Rampage. Now how do you counter Rampage when all of this stuff physical, right? Well, you kind of have to rely on your teammate if you're the carry and he's dragging you around in his ult. What your teammates can do is get a tablet of command and use it on you. Once you're so far away from Rampage, it actually breaks his ult. So it breaks the chains that's dragging you around, and his ult's basically useless. Great way to counter him. Same idea with Pharaoh. When Pharaoh jumps in, puts his mummies up, just tablet of command your teammate out, and they're free. Anyways, we looked at some starting items, we looked at some progression, and kind of things that should be going through your head, trying to make progression as you go from the starting items and get more and more as you're trying to fulfill these kind of conditions, I guess, on the left, right? And then we also looked at heroes, some core item builds, and ways to counter heroes. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. Next video is going to be really informative on laning. Definitely stay tuned for that one. Once again, this is a NizCast. I'll see you next episode. Bye.